Better than this.
Better than this.
Yeah.
There's a story behind how this song was written. There's a story behind how every song was written. Josh, you idiot.
Yeah. I'm Jared Atherton.
I'm Josh Hour.
And we are Chapters.
So when we were living in the ICU, I only got a little bit of time every day to kind of walk around the city, maybe grab some lunch or something. And I would meet these different homeless people. And there's something about talking to someone who's in need like that, and you tell them your story and why you're up here and what's going on with your daughter and all this stuff. There's just this instant heartbreak connection. They understand. They get it. It's really interesting. So I became close to this guy named Adolfo, and I would see him almost every day. I ended up buying him a guitar because that's how he made money on the streets, and someone broke his guitar over his head, actually.
That's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story.
Very colorful story.
But I rallied some people when we bought him a guitar, and I ended up buying myself one of those guitars. It's just a cheap Yamaha from Guitar Center.
You just said Yamaha.
Oh, is it not Yamaha?
It's Yamaha.
I went to Guitar Center and bought this awesome Yamaha, and that guitar, the rest of the time we were in the hospital, is what I wrote a lot of music with. And this song came really quickly, 15 minutes. I knew what the song was, like right off the bat, which a lot of songs aren't like that for me. I'll really pour over them for weeks and change things up until the very last second, you know. But I sent this song to you, and it was just acoustic and vocal, yeah?
Yeah, it was obviously really, really inspiring. Immediately connected with it. Yeah, obviously. And for me, I knew this was going to be a little more of a delicate tune. And we had a conversation before making this whole record where we were at a point where we said, could we make these songs without using any pads? Mm-hmm. Which a pad is usually something very, very reverby that's it's just kind of standard. And we thought if we need to fill anything up, maybe we'll use extra reverbs and stuff, but let's work a little harder and have more counter melody. And I really wanted to do strings on this that had some character and said something and had some counter melody. You usually have a lot of counter melody in your background vocals stuff, doing that, and guitars will, piggyback on that. But I wanted to do some interlocking pieces. And so we spent a long time on that last 10-20% of the tune because we were trying to get the interlocking puzzle pieces right.
Yeah.
And not overdo it and not draw attention to it, but have it cleverly fall into place.
That is amazing that you can program that. That just blows my mind.
Took a minute.
Yeah, really percussive, really melodic.
And playing off some of those different things, those melodies. And so we had guitars.
The old baritone.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that thing. Did you play those?
Yeah. Our friend Dan Bailey.
He originally played some of this stuff.
He played drums on this.
Uh-huh.
And but he also tracked a few guitars and did a baritone on there.
Yeah.
And he was just he did a couple passes of it, and it was a really cool tone. And I ended up retracking stuff, but kept that same kind of concept.
Shout out to Dan Bailey.
Yeah, very cool. Because the acoustic guitar that you did on the chorus kind of had that walking bass line movement to it. Which has already got a lot of cool melody to it.
Yeah.
So we have that acoustic, we have these electrics working together, not stepping on each other's toes. And then these strings. It was a fun process to try to get all that stuff to work together. It's just so easy to crowd each other so quickly. And Dan just knocked it out of the park with his drums. His feel, ridiculous, so dry. We added percussion to it.
What is that goodness?
Oh, that's some of the keys, programming sounds, and glockenspiel.
That's right. You know, a lot of the stuff you miss if you don't know it's there. But you would miss it if it were gone.
Oh, totally. Yeah, so that was really fun. He added a lot. He always does when we have him play on stuff. One other cool, fun thing that right away, once I started working on the tune, was I had this Optagon loop, which is an old like home organ kind of a instrument that you could insert. It's not a vinyl record, but it's sort of like this plastic cartridge. Anyway, so it's got a very cool vibe and sound to it. And I found a loop, and I just thought that sitting underneath with that acoustic guitar was kind of a fun complementary thing. Yeah. And then you got a hold of it and did even more.
Yeah, it's different.
You can hear it in there. Is that you hitting your acoustic?
I think so. Oh, the triangle.
The triangle.
Okay, I didn't have a triangle, but Dan had an old mic that was kind of busted, and I went over and I stole it, and I took the casing off, and I hit it with a screwdriver. Ever so delicately. And it sounds like a triangle.
Yeah. So this was a fun tune to work on, even though it really, when you stand back and look at it, it is pretty stripped down, pretty simple.
It seems like sometimes the simple ones take the longest to do. I remember this one taking a while, vocally especially, because I really liked the way the vocal demo sounded. I spent a lot of time trying to get some of that demo magic.
Yeah.
And I think we used a lot of the first verse.
I'm always guilty of demoitis, as I call it.
You're the only one who calls it that. I wanted it to sound like a lullaby. The song is about, well, it's inspired by my daughter's blanket, of all things. And it was her major comfort while she was in the hospital. She would just wrap her fingers in this blanket. And we would play lullabies every night, and I'd sing to her every night. And I knew I wanted this song to have a lot of sweeping melodies that just felt like a lullaby.
Your eyes tell the story, words were meaningless.
One of my favorite parts of this whole thing is this bridge just floating.
I'm really inspired by Imogen Heap, and she does that a lot.
Yeah.
Where just a lot of different sweeping vocals, and you have these different counter melodies that come in, and then they seem like all different instruments, but they're just 30 layers of vocals. I love it.
And we did an alt version of this song that we muted the acoustic guitar at one point, and we thought, well, that works too.
That's different.
Wouldn't that be cool to do that? And sometimes you can do a verse that's acoustic guitar and a verse that's piano, or one style and another style within the same song. But other times it's like, no, it needs its own thing. And then we end up sometimes loving the alt better than the original.
I would say most of the time we end up.
Yeah. And I think that comes from when you have the freedom to just take risks and go all in on something and just jump and go for it. Usually that's when the best stuff happens. So.
Great strings. So simple.
felt like a good way to end the tune.
Mm-hmm.
Wrap me around your fingertips. I couldn't help it, and soon gave up all control. We knew we never had in a song. Your eyes telling stories when words were meaningless. So we fought for our time. You and I left the world behind. You and I, for all we know, it couldn't get better than this. Wrapped around your fingers, even when I couldn't help you, and shelter from all fear we knew we never had. When I saw your eyes tell the story, words were meaningless. You and I left the world behind. You and I, all we know, it couldn't get better than this. You and I left the world behind. You and I, for all we know. You and I left the world behind. You and I, for all we know, all we know, all we know, couldn't get better than this.
Thanks for listening. We have a lot more of these episodes coming soon, so make sure to hit subscribe and follow. You can always find the latest information on the podcast and all of our new releases at wearechapters.com.